really be okay with messing up. Like, it's not going to be perfect every time. I can promise you, you go out to a restaurant and a musician's playing and they screw up the words maybe 2 or 3 times or whatever, but it's learning how to get over the fact that you messed up on something and just keep going.
Hello, everyone. I am Melissa Forziat of Take the Doughnut, here to help you get inspiration and get donuts. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and today I'm bringing you a Take the Doughnut interview with Alana Cavanaugh, who is a singer-songwriter, guitarist, and actress. And I am so excited to talk with you, Alana. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be back. I'm really, really excited. This is gonna be so
fun. For those who missed it, I mean, we have to tell you all about her, but I actually had an opportunity to speak with Alana for my Halt and Catch Fire rewatch podcast because she was on this show, and I got to do a wonderful interview with you and Morgan, who played your sister.
Yeah.
Morgan Hinkleman. But today this is all about you, which I'm very excited to dive into your world and get more information about it. And before we do that, I have to ask the question to start with. What is your favorite donut?
Boston cream.
And you got so serious before you said it.
Boston cream. It is. For the longest time, I hated that donut. Like, I hated it. It was my dad's favorite donut. And we would, every time we'd go, it's like, we knew what he was getting, but I would not like, it just grossed me out. And then I got a little bit older and I had it. And one day, and I was like, oh, I did not realize how good of a donut this was.
So everything changed for you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love the open-mindedness of it all. It's like, you know what, this isn't that bad. No, it's my favorite.
Now it's my favorite. Now I went from bottom of the totem pole to the top. So
wow. Okay. Well, there you have it. That's just goes to show you there's flexibility and adaptability built right in. So I said a little bit about you to start us off, but tell us more about yourself. What should we know about you?
So I am 17. I grew, sorry, my dog's sneezing.
Bless you.
He's over in the corner, like looking at me like, when's my turn? But no, so I grew up, I started acting when I was 5 years old. I got my first job when I literally on my birthday. First thing I auditioned for. So I've been acting for a really long time, but I have been singing and doing music since I could talk. So I was kind of born into the artist world. And that's kind of my calling. And I've done acting for a really long time. It slowed down and I really got to focus on my music. I am a full-time high school student, lacrosse player, and a professional musician. So and weightlifter. But but I'm basically your average teenager, but not, if that makes sense.
It does actually. I mean, I see the average and the not all in one package with you, and I think it's been really cool because actually when I started doing the rewatch podcast for Halt and Catch Fire, I've had a chance to speak with a lot of cast and crew members from the show. Actually, you and Morgan kicked off a really cool thing where you were the first interviews that I did, and now, I mean, every week we're putting out new interviews. But separately, like behind the scenes, people have been pinging me with their Morgan and Alana pictures. Like people are like, I have this fun scene from set, and every time it's like you with a guitar when you were really little, and it just really felt like, I need to talk with her about everything that's happened in her world, because you just it feels like it was there early for you, and it's blooming now.
Yes. And honestly, I owe a lot of my music experience and everything to Halt and Catch Fire, because I had a huge stage fright and I also did not know how to play guitar yet. And my first guitar teacher, Mr. William Riggs, who was actually my set teacher, but he is a musician himself and he's really talented. And he helped me learn like my first few songs and some chords, and he really pushed me and like got me into that art form of just music. And then Morgan's musically inclined. She's really, really talented. And Mr. William, who Victoria, her husband, also has a band. And he taught me some music as well. And so everybody on set had some sort of tie to music. And if they didn't know how to play, they loved listening to it. So we'd all play guitar, and there was always a guitar on set, but we'd always like play around and sing and all that stuff. So I owe a lot of that to Halt. So
And that was a little shout out just to give the names Victoria Donchis and William Sims as well. It sounds like they were part of the process for you. But let's reset here because what are we doing? It's a Take the Doughnut interview. What does that mean? So for me, Take the Doughnut is an expression that means the same thing as Carpe Diem. It's all about going after the things you want in life. I'll link a video here for those who haven't heard the origin story, but basically I left an actual donut on a table in college, and it turned into an object lesson for me and what it looks like when you leave opportunities behind. So for me, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to take the donut. So this conversation is really all about how do you go after what you want in life, and what does it really look like behind the scenes in our heads when we're going after the things that we want. So with that in mind, let's start here. How are you with going after goals? What is that process like for you?
so I'm definitely one of those people that I've always had big dreams, and I've always had goals, and I've always had long-term goals. And I am a kid, so I go through periods where I'm like, okay, we're gonna get this done, we're gonna do this, and then I go through periods where I'm like, yeah, I don't really feel like doing that anymore, or like just kind of up and down. So it's like that's kind of how it is. But I've also been one of those people that if I truly, truly want it and really am passionate about it, I will work for it. So for me, I I started music when I was like 8, like officially started music. And I actually hated guitar for a little bit. I really hated having to learn all the chords, and my fingers were bleeding, and I hated it. But what got me into it was my uncle who played guitar, and he gave me my first guitar, which is right here. And he showed me a couple songs and chords and everything and got me into it. And I've always been a music person, but at that moment, I was like, no, I'm actually going to do this. And I actually want to learn and be able to play. And I was a huge Hannah Montana fan. So, of course, I wanted to be Hannah Montana. Um, and so that kind of was like a big thing for me. I wanted to perform in front of people. I wanted to write my own music. I wanted to be able to play a full song and sing it at the same time. So like that was a big goal for me. So I did work a lot at it, and I don't want to say I perfected it because I'm far from perfect in that way, but I have gotten pretty good at it. And now I'm 17 and it's my job. So
It's unbelievable. I mean, it keeps coming up that you're 17. I you would never like you're so like wise beyond your years and poised for your age and poised for any age, to be honest. Like, so I think anybody who's listened, like you're being interviewed here not because you're a young guest, but because you're a guest on this. And like I feel like you have wisdom to share as much as anybody else does. You've done a lot in your years.
thank
It
you.
blows me away. It really does. So, okay, when you're going after something, especially if you know it's going to be a really big thing, like what you were just describing, what keeps you motivated in that process?
The end goal, honestly, it all comes down to thinking about, that, and thinking about the people that have helped me get to where I am, of like all the sacrifices my parents have like put to get me here. And I've also built that work ethic growing up. because I mean, as a kid, I'd be in school and I'd have to come home and learn 12 pages of dialogue in an hour and then record it and do that kind of thing. So for me, I've always been, you know, goal oriented. So I always am looking for that and end all be all whatever result. And I love the feeling of feeling accomplished, that I did something. I love knowing that I made people happy, and what I do kind of goes that. So it's I get little things along the way that make the work worth it. But for me, I think the biggest thing about staying focused is just remembering that, you know, this is what I want to do. And in order for me to, you know, really accomplish that goal, I do need to stick with it. There needs to be consistency and that kind of thing. So just that's the big motivator of, you know, all the amazing things that not only come with the end result, but all the things that I get to collect along the way. And it makes me feel good. Like just being on the journey makes me feel good. So
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, so when you're on the journey, a lot of times obstacles come up along the way, challenges. I'm curious for you if you've noticed a trend or a pattern around, or like, are there any particular kinds of challenges that always seem to come up for you, no matter what you're doing or working on, like a brand of challenge that's your Achilles heel?
yeah. So I mean, I'm a high school student, so I have a lot of things going on. I'm in student government at my school. I am a 4-year, well, I 3-year currently varsity lacrosse player. I've done weightlifting. I've been involved in many clubs, peer counseling, a bunch of other things, and then AP classes. So I have a lot on my plate to begin with as a normal teenager. So I think balancing, you know, I'll have a gig on Saturday and my friends are wanting to go out, but I also have this project due. So it's like I have to figure out how I can balance everything. And it's something that I've had to learn over the years. Like, I'm not always going to get to do the fun thing. Like, I'm not always going to get to go out with my friends. I'm not always going to get to go and say yes to a gig because I do have other responsibilities that, you know, I have to work with. But that's probably the biggest thing. And then staying motivated is hard sometimes. I will say, like, when you have to be so consistent, it does get tiring and you do get burnt out, and I do run out of songs, and I do, you know what I mean? So it's like you do kind of like hit those moments where you hit a wall and you feel like I really can't do anything anymore. But you know, you have that support system and you remember, like, oh, this is really what I want to do and this is what I want to work for, and it helps you push past that. So
Prioritizing is always so tricky.
yeah.
Sounds like you're
And
getting
I'm
really
not
good
good at it.
experience.
I'm not good at it. I will tell you, I am a huge procrastinator and I'm really bad at it. But I mean, being Miley instead of Hannah Montana is not easy.
Yeah. You know, I think the definition of what it looks like to be good at, let's say, prioritizing, there is it like it's one of those glass half full, glass half empty things. Because you could either say, I'm awesome at it and I know how to say no to things. And then maybe you feel guilty or weird about the things you said no to, but you were awesome at saying no. Like, or maybe it's not great because you want to have every possibility available to you. And so it's not an easy thing. I think it tells you a lot about your personality when you're trying to figure out what you want.
I've always been like that kid that's always had the fear of missing out because I have missed out on a lot of things. So like now that I'm at an age where it's like I can drive myself places, and you know, my friends are making plans where we don't have to have our parents involved, and it's like we just be like, hey, you want to go grab lunch after school? It's like those things are so tempting and so easily accessible that it's really hard to say no to those things, and it's really hard to manage time and get all those things balanced. But
Yeah. It's so true. I'm curious how you're going to answer this question. So if you think back, what is the biggest donut you've ever taken? And it could be from any arena of your life, but like the biggest thing you said yes to.
oh my gosh, I don't know, honestly. there's a like I've had a lot of pretty amazing things that have happened. Um, I mean, starting my probably my first gig actually, or my first time performing. It really wasn't like anything extravagant, but like for me it was. Um, and honestly, I'm gonna share an embarrassing story, but this is still like my biggest fear, yet it's also the same thing that pushes me to do what I do. Um, so Mr. Jeff LaRoe, who is a good friend of ours, he has a band, I think it's the Waverleys. Yeah, and they used to play at a local restaurant nearby, and I don't really remember how it came up. I was like 10 at the time, and they knew that I played guitar and I could sing and everything. They'd heard me somewhere, and they asked, "Hey, we're playing whatever. You want to come up and sing with us?" And I was like, "Sure." So I did it, and I was only supposed to sing one song. I ended up singing five. And I like that was the moment that like I realized how much I love seeing people like be like, oh my God, that just came out of her. And like they just light up. Like they're so excited and they love listening to it and they love seeing like how much fun I'm having. And I realized how happy it made other people. And so that, kind of started everything. And then I won a competition at school um, in 8th grade, so a couple years later. Um, and I had to perform in front of a huge group of parents and teachers and people, like a couple hundred or something crazy like that. And I'd never performed in front of anybody but like friends and family and a couple strangers at a restaurant. Maybe like it wasn't even like a normal thing at that point. It was just like a maybe once in a while type of thing with other people. Um, and I played this song and I knew the song like the back of my hand. Like I knew there was no way I could mess it up because it was just so engraved in my brain. And I got halfway through the song and I literally stopped playing and like my face like froze and I started crying and I completely forgot everything and I was so embarrassed and I didn't touch my guitar for like 2 or 3 months after that. And I realized how like even though I was so scared of it, I realized how much I missed it and how like that motivated me to get better, get used to performing in front of people, and really be okay with messing up. Like it's not going to be perfect every time. I can promise you, you go out to a restaurant and a musician's playing and they screw up the words maybe 2 or 3 times or whatever, but it's learning how to get over the fact that you messed up on something and just keep going. And so that's my biggest thing is just learning from your mistakes. And if you mess up, you mess up. Like it is what it is. No one's perfect. So I
Oh,
think
wow.
that's a donut.
It's so big. There are a lot of really big ones there, but I think overcoming a fear, or not letting a bad situation become a bigger fear, long term, that's huge. I like so big. I'm trying to absorb some of that energy from you right now. I think you've been answering this question along the way, but what is a donut you're trying to take right now?
Well, right now, I'm trying to get through my senior year because I'm a junior right now. I'm going to be getting through my senior year, and honestly, it's about swallowing the donut of, I'm going to be an adult. I'm going to be on my own soon. And I have this huge opportunity in front of me and basically a blank canvas that I get to decide. And, my dream since I was little was to, you know, be Hannah Montana. And I've been living the Miley side for a little bit. And I feel like now that I'm going to have that freedom and that ability to go and really truly chase that dream and fully immerse myself in everything that's involved with it. I think for me, it's now, now I'm really going to kick it into high gear and get into it. And I've recorded songs, but like I personally don't think they're ready yet for me to release. And I really watched myself grow and change over the past few years, and my taste in music, the kind of music that I make, the kind of music that I play. And so like now that I'm at a point where like I've kind of figured out who I am in that way, it's just doing it. So
Yeah, so much to explore, and it's all ahead of you. A little bit of it's behind you, but so many things to come for you. So I feel like we've probably all been coming away with a lot of information already from everything that you've said, but there may be people who are listening to this who have a donut of their own they want to take. Maybe it's still just an idea, or maybe they've started and they're part of the way there trying to figure out how to move forward. So let's sprinkle some encouragement. And what would you say to those people to inspire them?
well, my biggest thing is I feed off of other people's energy, and I love having a support system. That is my biggest thing. And over the years, I've collected so many people that like I the whole reason of what I do is not because I want to be famous, but because I want to create as big of a community of people as humanly possible so we can all enjoy something together. So I think if you want that donut, I think building yourself a support system first off, I think is huge, and it'll help you, stay motivated, stay positive, and really just, really make a list of goals, figure out what your overall goal is, and like the trickle down of the tree, right? Like what are the other things that you need to accomplish before then, and celebrate the little things, and figure out what you want. And sometimes you find out that that's not what you want. And sometimes you figure out that, but you're not going to know unless you try. So just taking those baby steps, and really just going after what you want. Just do it, I guess, is the thing. Just do it. See what happens.
Absolutely. Ah, beautiful things to say there. I love it. And, for those of us who want to follow you on your journey, which is everybody who's listening to this wants to follow you on your journey. So where can they find what you're up to? I can put links in the description, but what should I put there?
So my Instagram for sure, Alana Cavanaugh official. My TikTok as well. They're a little different. Some of like they both have different things, but it's pretty much the same thing. But a follow on both is awesome. You can keep updated. TikTok's also Alana Cavanaugh official. My YouTube channel, which is also Alana Cavanaugh official. So everything is Alana Cavanaugh official. You can look at, just fun things that are happening in my life. You can look at my music, which is a big thing. I just posted my first original on my Instagram. So if you want to check that out, go look on Instagram. And TikTok, it's on there too. And I typically post on TikTok first, and then it makes its way to Instagram. So if you want the first look on what I'm coming up with and what I'm doing, go on TikTok. But yeah, so those are the three things you can check me out on.
All right. Well, everybody be sure to check out those resources so you can keep up with all of the great things that Alana is doing. And if you liked hearing Alana's story, which of course you did, be sure to like and subscribe on this video because we have plenty more inspirational interviews still to come. But in the meantime, Alana, thank you so much for joining me and for just taking a little time to debrief about going after opportunity and what that looks like for you.
Thank you so much. I love coming on here with you because you ask the best questions, and it's just like it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Oh, thank you for that. It's always such a blast talking with you. And to everybody who's out there, you know what to do. Get inspiration, get donuts. Bye, everyone.